Mr. Speaker, Bill A-2717 creates a property tax exemption for service-disabled veterans equal to their disability rating. Today, 100% disabled veterans do not pay property taxes. However, if you're 90% or 80% or 70% disabled on down, you pay them all. This bill would make it so that an 80% disabled veteran pays 20% of their property taxes, a 70% disabled veteran pays 30%, etc., all the way down to 10%. Mr. Speaker, I'm not here today to debate the merits of this particular concept, but rather to highlight an inequity in the consideration this bill has been given by the Assembly Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. This bill was first introduced on January 26 of 2006 by a Democrat. It was referred at that time to the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. On September 16, 2010, after previous sponsors had moved up to the Senate, it was introduced again by Assemblyman Craig Coughlin, now our Speaker, and co-sponsored at the time by Assemblyman Wayne D'Angelo. In 2014, Assemblywoman Cleopatra Tucker, in her first year as chair, and Assemblyman Joe Danielson, in his first year in the Assembly, joined as co-prime sponsors, and they remained on that until 2020, when Assemblyman Coughlin became Speaker Coughlin. On March 8th of 2021, I introduced the bill and secured 49 sponsors. On January 11th, 2022, I reintroduced the bill with 51 sponsors. On January 19th, 2024, I reintroduced the bill after many members had left, and it still has 32 sponsors. In 2014, the Senate version, sponsored by, at the time, Democrat Jeff Van Drew, passed this bill out of the Community and Urban Affairs Committee with a vote of 5-0. In 2021, the Senate version, now sponsored by Senator Cruz Perez and Senator Vin Gopal, with 25 total Senate sponsors, passed the same Senate committee, again, 5-0. In May of 2022, it again passed unanimously in the same Senate committee. From June 2022 to May 2023, I motioned to relieve this bill from committee 3 times. It was tabled each time with 42 votes, 41 votes, and 42 votes, respectively. Since the bill's introduction in 2006, and despite the current Speaker and the chair of the Military and Veterans Affairs Committees being longtime sponsors, the bill has never been scheduled for a committee hearing. In January 2024, the version I introduced alleviates some concerns that were articulated previously when the bill was tabled. Namely, the bill now applies to all disability levels down to 10%. It's important to note that a competing bill with similar intent and a slightly different approach was introduced in 2022, and it has had 2 Senate hearings, both passed unanimously, and also has had 0 Assembly hearings, despite the chairwoman of the Assembly Military and Veterans Committee being the prime sponsor of that bill. Since A-2717 has not been given adequate consideration in the Assembly Military and Veterans Affairs Committee in its 18-year history, I have no choice but to take the procedural action to force it to the floor for a vote. Mr. Speaker, having given 24 hours notice as permitted by Rule 10:23, I motion to relieve Assembly Bill 2717, providing property tax relief for our disabled veterans, from the Assembly Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Is there a second? Majority Leader Greenwald, why do you rise?
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I think we're going to add another chapter to Mr. Bergen's story. I couldn't be more proud of the significant property tax relief measures, including Anchor and Stay New Jersey, that include veterans that we've passed through this chamber and have been signed into law. The question remains, is it enough? And I think the answer is, I think everybody in this House would agree, there's never too much that we can do for our veterans who have laid their lives on the line for our country. And I want to thank my colleagues, Assemblyman Bergen, Assemblyman Morocco, and Assemblyman Danielson for their service to the greatest country in the world. But veteran advocacy groups, and the reason that the history, as Mr. Bergen has laid out, continues to go is because those very same veteran advocacy groups have come to us since your sponsorship and others, and have said to us and educated us that the bill as it is drafted They have serious concerns that the bill is not targeted to the veterans that need it the most in the area of concerns with which they have the most need and seek the most help. At their urging, we once again move to table the motion, and as I do so, Mr. Speaker, and I hear Mr. Bergen again today, it does trigger to me, one of our former sponsors, now Congressman Jeff Van Drew, that this issue is probably best suited in the federal government because this is an issue that our veterans, wherever they live, should have the services and the relief for their dedication to our country. This is not a New Jersey issue. This is a national issue of tribute, recognition, and admiration. And with that, Mr. Speaker, with the support of the veterans advocacy groups, I move to table the motion.